G'day. In this week's adventure, I'm going to take you to 3 places. The first one is Lake Ballard. Lake Ballard is an area where Sir Antony Gormley placed 51 different statues all around the lake. He did that in 2003 at a cost of $65,000. Next, I'm taking you to a pub called Kookynie Pub, and that's where the horse is welcome to come inside and drink at the bar. And the final place I want to take you to is Goongarrie Homestead, which is a fantastic place. The last time it was really used was about 1960, 63. So you can either stay in the shearers cottage, stay in the homestead, or take all your gear and just camp there. Anywho, let's go. Okay, Lake Ballard, what is that all about? Well, I'll tell you the Aboriginal side of it, but just before I do, briefly, Antony Gormley, who is Sir Antony Gormley, who is a famous sculpturist and artist of various degrees, was commissioned in 2003 to do something for the 50th anniversary for Western Australia. So he went and made all these sculptures of humans. Now, where he got the humans was some little township, Menzies, which is not that far from Lake Ballard, and he digitally scanned them, as opposed to the rumour is that everyone had to get naked. I don't think they did, but he digitally scanned them, and from that he made the sculptures. There's 51 of them. Each one's around about 750 metres apart from each other. And they're technically exactly the right height, but then they've been shrunk horizontally by 2/3. Not sure the reason for that, but that's quite an interesting thing. Now, the Aboriginal side, what the story is was there's a constellation up in the sky at night time. You'll see it's called the Seven Sisters. Now, those 7 sisters decided they loved looking down at Lake Ballard, and noticed all the white, because it's a salt lake, they noticed all the white sand, so the whole 7 sisters decided to come down and play amongst the lake. And when they were down there, there was a nasty man who came along, and he was chasing the little sister. So the 7 sisters, what they did was they came and they tried to hide the sister. Now, the biggest island from Lake Ballard that you can see when you camp there is the big sister, and all the various other islands around are the little sisters. So that's the Aboriginal idea of how it got its name. But yeah, a really fascinating place, and it's well worth a visit. Yeah, very intriguing. Only the lonely know the way I feel tonight. Well, here I am at Lake Ballard, and one of the many items placed around the lake. Quite amazing. I think they're bronze, or they're definitely a metallic material, and it's just great to be here. Just on sunrise. You probably can't see anything, but that might not be a bad thing. You know, there's probably one time on my entire trip I would have loved having a bike. I like one of those bikes with the big fat tyres on them, sort of like for the beach. You could ride right around this lake. It's a pretty big lake, but then again you could walk it, but it would be pretty casual to ride it. Or if you had an e-bike, well, what can I say? Yeah, it is a little bit cold. Goongarrie, what's the story? Glad you asked. 90 miles northeast of Coolgardie is a little township called Goongarrie. It used to be called 90 Mile. Back in the day, May 1893, Billy Frost and his mates discovered gold, and from then was the gold rush. Alluvial gold was found in creeks and gullies. They would just literally go down, oh, gold nugget, how good. Oh, another one, how lucky am I? Between 1897 and 1918, 800 kilograms of gold was taken from that area. And the Cobb & Co used to be a daily stopover for passengers. Then came the railroad, and sadly, Goongarrie's fortunes really fell down. They tried to make it into a pastoralist, but there wasn't enough water, so that didn't happen. Then in 1995, the state government bought it and made it into a national park, and that's what it is today, Goongarrie National Park, and well worth a visit. I'm standing in front of a building where I came and stayed for a couple of nights. What a great little place. It's called Goongarrie Homestead. Just a word of warning, just check your way when you're coming in. If you're coming in by Captain Google, Google Maps, I end up taking the wrong road, and it was almost a stage of getting lost again, and it was very deep sand. So just if you're on some sort of a sandy track, you're on the wrong road. It's fairly obvious. Double check it with Google Maps. You're basically just driving down a fairly wide gravel road, and it's in quite good condition. It was when I came down here. When you get here, it really is a great place to stay. So what it is it's the old homestead, and popped everywhere, all over the place. There's old machinery, and they've mixed it in with a little bit of some out camping chairs and tables. But as I say, this is the old machinery workshop. Then you have the homestead itself, which is really delightful, and you have the shearers cottage. The thing is, with either of those accommodation, and I'm just staying here in the caravan, so you've got 3 levels of accommodation. You can either stay in your caravan, you can stay in the homestead, or in the shearers cottage. And believe me, the prices are ridiculously cheap. However, just be warned, but a nice warning, if you decide to stay in the shearers cottage, or you decide to stay in the homestead, it is full on. Imagine you're going back in the 1960s, because that's how really, really basic it is. You will have electricity, you will have a shower, you will have toilet, but I'm not trying to undersell it or oversell it, but it really is really going back to those days. So take all the luxuries that you want. Oh, and by the way, you do have a reception here. Take all the luxuries you want and be comfortable. But yeah, if you stay in either of those places, we really are going back in the 60s. And people say, oh, I'd love to go back in the 60s. They were the good old days. Well, come and experience what the good old days were like, and you might have a rethink. This is the beginning of the walk. As you can see, it's called Nanamara Walk Trail, and it really is a delight. I have to confess, I'm not a big walker, not a great lover of the walking trails. That could be just the slight laziness in me. And all along the track, there's the occasional sign. Tells you where you're at and what's happening. This just says, my home. We moved here in 1895 and we're still called 90 Mile. My dad gave me his map when they started calling it Goongarrie. The ride on the mail coach to get here from Coolgardie was long and bumpy. The horses worked hard to get us here. Back then, Goongarrie had a lot of people looking for gold like us. And right along the track, someone's gone to the trouble of putting little rocks either side. And pretty much for the whole 3 kilometres, you'll see those little rocks there as an indicator where you are, and to make certain you're not getting lost. If you really get lost, you can either head back to the Telstra Tower, then you know you're really close, or you can head for the electric wires that hang off the poles, and you'll definitely be headed in the right direction then. And there's one of those signs, so be sure you know you're headed in the right direction. As if waiting for his cue, the horse is just over there. And he was in the bar a moment ago, but apparently there's a bull that's got nearby, and the two of them weren't too happy with each other. You're not going to believe it, I said, come on mate, you need it on set. And look at him, here he goes. You going in? You going in? He's not allowed in because they've polished the floors. Doesn't like being filmed. I'm in the Kookynie, I think it's called, pub. Fantastic atmosphere. This is the pub where the horse comes up to the bar. Definitely should come and visit this pub. Lots of memorabilia, and the lady who owns it's a real character. So check that out.
Oh, I can do that.
Oh, it's all right.
I trust you found this video useful, helpful and or entertaining. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, and if you think it's worth sharing, please do. Next time we will be going gold prospecting, so that should be exciting. Until next time, this is Paul Wheel Drive, signing off.